What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spot Show Podcast, an independent wrestling podcast with a few pit stops along the way. We are on episode 80, which means that we are 20 away from 100, and my God, where does the time go? But, of course, I am one of your hosts, Jim Mint 10, Dickie Wabash. Here's the thing, got some news for you. Michael Madrox, he was attacked by a cougar, right? He recovered. As he was crawling away from the cougar, a rattlesnake dropped out of a tree, hit him in both of his eyes, wrapped around his neck, and made him pass out. So Michael Madrox cannot be here this week. So we had to call in the brother. The Bud Light Brawler, Dalton Davis, is here on the Spot Show Podcast. Hybrid Championship Wrestling Midwest Champion, Bud Light Brawler, you know, all that, all the other accolades that you have, which, you know, I don't really know. Do you have any other nicknames that are like kosher, I guess?
Not any that's on the other side of the curtain.
Fair.
So I do have a question about your introduction. Okay?
Oh, okay.
One, the cougar, okay, that attacked Michael Madrox, right?
Yeah.
Do we know this cougar?
It was not a woman. It was not an aging woman. It was in fact a forest cougar that attacked Michael Madrox. And then the snake then attacked him.
Yeah, but you said it was a rattlesnake. Texas or no?
Oh, Texas, of course.
So it was Steve.
So what I'm getting at, you know, I was getting a little bit of subtlety.
Son, Michael Madrox was walking out of his house and he got dropped on the stack of dabs. He calls a knack.
All right, well, we just lost Jason V on that one. Anyway, yeah, he dropped out of a tree, hit him with the old poke in the eyes, dropped him on that stack of dimes. So he is recovering from that, but he will hopefully be back next week. Of course, let me remind you again, this is the Spot Show Podcast. Each and every week, myself and Michael Madrox, a lot of times a guest, we get on here and just talk about the wacky world of independent professional wrestling, which is something that we just can't seem to stay away from, Dalton.
Yeah, dude, I know. I tried, and then your ass came back, and I've been fucked ever since.
yeah, that's definitely how it is. Listen, here's the thing, guys. If you like what we're doing here, you can go on over patreon.com/MadBash Studios. Oh, excuse me. You know, here's the thing. I'm having a zero proof beverage because, you know, Dalton Davis on the podcast, we'll get into it a little bit, but you've kind of been cutting back on that because you've been hitting the diet. You're a body guy now. Yeah. So you're trying to hit that.
Well, last time I said I was a body guy was because I had a lot of slumber parties with Clayton Clark. That's why I said I was going to become a body guy. Yeah. And then I fell out of being a body guy because I'm an alcoholic. And, well, Clayton Clark stopped inviting me to the slumber parties. And, well, you've seen what happened when I'm not invited to Clayton Clark's parties. I tend to try to fucking ruin them. So, you know.
Hey, good little plug there for the
See what I did
special.
There?
You see what you did there?
Hey,
you see
I'm
what you did there?
I'm a PR guy now. I'm a PR guy now.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, if you like what we're doing here, you can go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. Back us at the $5 and above tier. You are going to get this show early and ad-free, as well as a bunch of other exclusive content. We are currently in the process of figuring out some really cool stuff for that $10 tier. So y'all need to stay tuned because you are going to like what we got coming that way. But here's the thing. It's not the only way that you can support us. Go to madbashstudios.com. There you'll find links to all of our social medias, favorite podcasting platforms. Go on over there. Give us a like, a subscribe. Leave us a 5-star written review. Whatever you got to do to support us. We absolutely love it. Dalton, you know what it's time for. We got some plug skis and some upcoming dates here. March 30th, Dickie Wabash is going to be in the booth at All Vermilion Wrestling. I'm going to be there in the commentary booth, of course. Don't think you're booked on that show, brother, but you're more than welcome to hop in the carload with me if you want to go. I don't know.
I think me and Kid Riot have plans.
Oh, Kid Riot. I love it. And then, of course, the big one. April 13th, Sunday, April 13th. MadBash Wrestling and New Version Wrestling present Level 4. That's going to be one. That's going to be a big one. You guys got to be there for that one. You absolutely got to be there for that one. We've also got a little plug here for you. Dalton already threw it out. If you've not seen Clayton Clark's, not Clayton Clark's Christmas Vacation, A Merry Mad Bash Christmas, going over to our YouTube channel. Check that out. Give it a watch, give it a like, and give it all that. And of course, this show is brought to you by Venom Energy and Elite Pro Wrestling. But you're going to hear a little bit more about them later because, Dalton, we got a lot to talk about, man. We really do. We had some big wrestling weekends, Yep. Sadly, kid, we were not booked on the same cards, but we were both holding it down for the Mad Bash brand on our respective cards. Hybrid Championship Wrestling, man. Your first title defense, walking in, the hometown boy done good against arguably your greatest rival of all time. Oh, Logan Myers. Can't tell that story. So I know that you're going to probably kill me for this because I'm going to make you seem human for a minute. I know that you're having, you got that, you're getting back in after that injury. You're trying to get back into the swing of things, if you will. How do you think it went? How are you feeling?
Well, I am still your Midwest Hybrid Champion, so I can't say I went all that bad. You're right at the beginning of that. Like, Logan Myers is my greatest rival. It didn't matter, like, rather it be under the Hybrid umbrella, rather it be under the Mad Bash banner, like
D6
banner. Like, me and Logan have always had that chemistry to go out there and, in the words of him, tell a damn story.
Yeah.
I will say I'd be lying if I told you, like, the emotions weren't high, just because it was, the return at Hybrid. And, with it being in the hometown, like, there's that level of expectation that comes with it on top of a heavyweight title match. Yeah, man, I think me and Logan went out there and we had a good one. There's a part in the match where he gives me a vertical suplex, and I remember as soon as I landed, I just looked up at HBJ, who was reffing, and I said, "Welcome back to the business, huh?" And that was the thing that sucks. Like, over time, like, sitting and not doing wrestling, like, you lose that bump callus. You get that ring rust. You forget your movements in there, and each movement sucks, whether it be a roll, a bump, a hit in the rope.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of battling that on top of, getting through the match.
So you've had how many matches back now? So you're probably starting to get into the swing of it a bit more.
Yes and no. Like, I had that one with Draco at EPW. And I've had some since then. But they've just been so, like, few and far between that, like, I go in, I knock a little bit of that ring rust off, and then, like, I have like 2 or 3 weeks to where it builds back up, and then I'm back, to wrestling at square one that I was in. But at least, like, now, like, with the we're getting into the year, like, more dates are picking up, and I really do feel like that match with Logan is what I would consider, like, what I need. It was the all right, buddy, let's get back to it. And and now I truly feel like more than ever that we are off on the races. So
be put on notice, Dalton Davis. Hell damn it, Dalton Davis is back. Oh, have we ever? I don't know. We may do it on Paid Ski. Have we ever explained the hell damn an ass rib? I don't think we have.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that definitely is a paid show.
Yeah, that's a paid show story because the hell damn an ass rib is one of my favorite ribs of all time. Yeah, so funny thing about that actually is that match was on Saturday, and then Sunday I had a booking with AVW. Not to skip over my Saturday booking at EPW, but this is germane to the story. I was on that show with Cobra, and he opened the show at Hybrid, and you were not complaining about it, but you were just like, motherfucker, I had to go out there and follow Dillinger and Cobra. Like, how am I supposed to do that? So then Cobra was backstage talking. He's like, yeah, I worked Dillinger. It was a good time, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, Dalton Davis is pissed about that, by the way. And he goes, yeah, we did. You know, we went out first and he had to follow that. So I get that completely. I love Cobra.
It's all love to the Cobra, though. You know, and that was another good thing about Hybrid is like seeing a lot of familiar faces, like in a weird way. And I even told old JD this. Shout out JD. Not only did it feel like a homecoming in the aspect of like I'm back in Terre Haute, Hybrid's my home, you know, like homecoming in that aspect, but you know, I got to see a lot of familiar faces, like seeing Eric Dillinger, seeing the Cobra, seeing Ace Perry, you know, getting to see Cole Radrick again.
I was going to bring up Radrick,
yeah, somebody I started with, you know, and like just being able to sit there and chop it up and talk about Tolerant Zero, who I'm almost positive we were the only ones in the locker room that really knew who Zero was. Like that was pretty cool. So honestly, man, with Hybrid, that show, man, in front or behind the curtain, it was a great time for me. I'm truly blessed to have been on that card.
Yeah, we covered Zero the last time that you were on here, and like how much he means to us, and like just the whether good or bad, sometimes bad, the influence that he has had on us. Like I'm leaving with a microwave, you know, or whatever.
See, that story solely was how we started talking about Zero, and I think Cole Radrick summed it up perfectly. He said, Tolerant Zero wasn't a good guy or a bad guy, but Mike was sure the hell Mike.
One of the most unapologetically himself human beings that I've ever met in my entire life. But man, you talk about Radrick. I think one of the weirdest things for me is like I remember being there when he was first getting, the same goes for you as well. But like, I remember being there for his first match and like you reffing it and all this other stuff. And like, I will never forget as well. This is my Radrick story is he wasn't even working shows yet. And he rode with me to a UWC show and he was just going as a fan and like, giving him advice, like in the car with him, you know, like as he was asking advice and whatnot. Cause I had like 2 years under my belt at that point. But he was just like taking the opportunity to get in the car with me and learn. And then it's so weird to be like, oh, GCW tag team champion, huh? Cool. You're world traveled. That's what's weird about it with Radrick. And like, I got to see him for the first time in like 10 years, maybe. I think the last time, not even 10, maybe like the last time I saw him was probably 2016, 2017, maybe. If that, and to get to see him at the Smitty, and he walked by and like did a double take. He goes, Dickie, and he gave me. I was like, this motherfucker's not going to remember me. And then he remembered me, and then I got to pull him to the side and be like, dude, I'm so proud of you, man, because like literally seeing where you started. I think that's the cool thing about like having X amount of years in the business that. There are definitely people that would have a chip on their shoulder and be like, oh, brother, I've been around. I'm grizzled now. How come I'm not getting these opportunities? I don't care. I just want to see the people that, you know, I started with, like, you know, seeing them branch out and stuff is always going to be cool to me.
Yeah. And I even had that literally that same conversation with Cole in the locker room. Like, you know, I could have very easily been bitter, you know, like, especially because, I mean, it is kind of a secret, but me and Cole Radrick used to butt heads quite a bit at training because we were just that competitive.
Yeah, you know? I think real quick, we also need to throw this out there too, for those of you that don't understand, same training class.
Yeah.
Like, that's not very common knowledge, I don't think.
Me, like you said, same training class between me and Cole, and like, it was always a competition, but it also made both of us so much better.
Friendly competition.
Yeah, and I even told him, like, you know, it's really good to see where he's at and what he's doing. Seeing, like, your buddy, you know, live his dream. You know, HBJ told me that his dad, H-Bomb, shout out, was coming to the hybrid show because H-Bomb really likes GCW and he's a big fan of Cole Radrick. And that kind of put in perspective to me, like, how much he really has been living his dream. Because to me, you know, he's still Kohlberg. He's still the guy that just helped me hang up a ceiling in a shitty building. And we're just talking about Sami Callihan matches. Like, that is still who I see Cole as. And just to see, like, the impact that he's made and, like, made his notch in wrestling, dude, that's so dope.
But then also to have him be like, your dad's H-Bomb? Like,
yeah,
to have him mark out for H-Bomb. That's really fucking funny. That is so damn funny. Yeah, man, my Saturday booking was hectic as usual because I'm going to let everyone in on a little secret about professional wrestling, right? There's a thing called card subject to change. And boy, did that go into effect at EPW on Saturday. Because
wait, Dickie, you're telling me a wrestling show didn't go as planned?
I know, right?
Call the press.
It's almost as if one that I'm booking isn't going as planned. But and it's always day of is how it seems to work out. So, but I think a good thing really came from that is that I want to give him his props because I do all the time because I think he deserves them. I gotta say, man, Colby Jack had one of, if not the best match that I've seen him have since he's been back from his injury. He wrestled Avery Hertz, and man, those two were so good together. It was so good. Colby is still the champion, of course. And I mean, that was a match that was supposed to happen in January, but again, things happen, shows get canceled. So we had to make that happen. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to Avery because that was kind of a last minute decision. And shout out to Colby as well, because I mean, like, that's just whenever you're planning for one thing and then another thing happens, even just real life in general, it's always a tough pill to swallow and a tough thing to get ready for.
For sure. Yeah. Props to them for definitely like adapting too, you know, especially like as a wrestler, I can sometimes mess with your head, you know, go into the building and you're expecting one thing and you get there and everything is complete 180'd on you, you know. Shout out to them. I can't wait to see it. I haven't got to watch it yet.
I think I have a link to it. It's not up yet, but I think I have it. I'll get it to you.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't remember, but man, there's something I want to get into, but I don't know if I want it to be. I'll talk about it on Paid Show. I'll talk about it on Paid Show. It involves one of our MadBash boys. But yeah, man, it was. Yeah, so this was my first booking of the year, and that double shot weekend, man, that there is something that I despise, but at the same time love about a double shot weekend that is just so great. Like, it was me and Madrox rode down for EPW, and then Jeremy Hamilton rode with me to AVW on Sunday, and that was a fun car ride, man. Jeremy, he's another one we got to get on here soon. We have got to get him on here. He's been champing at the bit to be able to get on here. He's he's so like, I don't even know how to put him over without making it seem like that I'm blowing him completely, because like he's obviously one of my guys. So there's no nepotism involved at all. But I mean, it's just like, if you're not using him on your card, like, what's wrong with you? He's, in my opinion, truly the best ring announcer in the Midwest. And like, I'm not trying to disparage anyone else that ring announces, but because everyone has their own thing about it. And I was talking to him about this. I think what makes him special is that he's he's more of a host than a ring announcer. And I think that that's something that is really missing, because back when I was doing the original Thursday Night Throwdown shows in like 14 or 15, I treated it more like a hosting gig is how I would do it. You know, like you got to be that boisterous personality, and Jeremy has it on lock for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, if you think about it, like the ring announcer oftentimes is the first you see on the show of any sort of capacity at all. You know, starting off the show, national anthem, like it's him. He's steering the ship. He is the captain. So I think what makes him different, it's almost like the Samantha Irvin, right?
Yeah.
I always butcher her last name. But like, fans started to resonate with her because of like, the way she would announce like, Chelsea Green, like all that stuff, because, it was more so of like, oh, this person's different. And I think that's why like Jeremy's so over, dude, is because he's the package. He's the Nick Cannon of our America's Got Talent.
The Nick Cannon. That's incredible. That is awesome.
Yeah, at least Jeremy doesn't have a shitty movie named Drumline, though.
Imagine there's a reality.
You know what he does have? MadBash Christmas special.
He does. Imagine a reality where Jeremy Hamilton is the host of Snick. And I know Snick is before your time, Oos. So I know that you don't even know what that is. That's Saturday Night Nickelodeon, dude. That was their edgy teen block where they would like get together and show like I forget, I cannot tell you a show that was on Snick, but I mean a lot of people know Nick Cannon as well from Wildin' Out as well. So dude, shout out to Wildin' Out.
Honestly, dude, Wildin' Out, that's some goated stuff. It put me on like a lot of funny comedians too. Like Wildin' Out is underrated. And then, like as a wrestler, you hear them doing like their freestyle and stuff. And then they like drop the beat and it just sounds like some intense promo. Oh, dude, I love it.
Dude, I just remembered a show, and I doubt that you remember this because my knowledge of random obscure reality shows like from the late 2000s or mid, like from the 2000s, granted you were 3, that show Yo Mama, did you ever watch that?
No.
It was on MTV, and the host was Wilmer Valderrama, Wilder Valderrama is how you say his name. And Wilbur Valderrama, I'm butchering this motherfucker's name, by the way. But it was literally all the show was, it was Yo Mama jokes, and it was like Yo Mama battles. So like they would start out with 4 of them. They would start out with 4 of them like in a circle, and it was just like a freestyle round where they were all just throwing out Yo Mama jokes. Funny. And then they would pick the top 2 and then put them against each other. Dude, like why was that TV? Why was that TV?
Dude, I miss those era TVs where it just had like good comedy. Like people, okay, not a lot of people know about this show and it shows, but whose line is it anyways? Who's one of the dude? Me and JD just used to be posted up watching that stuff all the time.
Well,
it was hilarious.
Wildin' Out was essentially like Hood Who's Line, if you think about it.
Yeah, essentially, dude. I think even like a couple times, like they had some wrestlers on there. Like I know Naomi, I think was on there. Maybe the Usos or something.
Probably.
Yeah. Which is just still crazy.
Speaking of like shows from that era, I saw a TikTok today that I meant to send to you because I know how big of a fan of a show you were, of this show that you were, but it was a Dog the Bounty Hunter clip. And
hell yeah.
It was him like on the phone with a guy like yelling at him and calling him Tweak. He was like, "Get here now, Tweak!" And he's like just yelling at this fucking guy. And it was so goddamn funny. But he's like, "You're gonna get here and we're gonna bond revoked. Get here, Tweak."
Dude, my favorite thing about Dog the Bounty Hunter episodes is they would say the most vile stuff to each other. Like on the phone calls or trying to hunt him down. You'd have old Leland like paintballing some dude down an alleyway to chase him down. And like, they're talking like they're making phone calls and they're like, if you don't get here, we're taking your mom, who's the co-signer, to jail, like threatening whole families. And then at the end, he's like, here's a cigarette. Let me pray for you.
Dude, man, it's shit like that. And like, there was one episode that it's my favorite Dog the Bounty Hunter moment where he's like in a sketch part of town, dude. Like, it's bad. And there's like dope fiends on every corner. And he walks to the middle of the intersection and he's just like, all you motherfuckers are going to go down. And then he's like giving this fucking sermon and like just running all of these people down. And then he ends it by going, thus saith the dog. And then he gets it like, and you know that shit, dude, pro wrestling is more real than reality television.
Dude.
And that's why it's such a heartbreaker to me that enough of this never took off, our one podcast that we were doing, because there is so much to explore, even just with wrestling-based reality shows. Because like Hogan Knows Best is the most contrived show ever.
Dude, I just sent Jay Silva a clip of Hulk Hogan showing his house to MTV Cribs, and he's just so messed up off painkillers and stuff that he
What's up, brother?
Yeah, he's just like chilling as if like his homies just came over and Brooke has to do the entire like house tour. That shit was hilarious.
Is that the one where he shows off his shower that has like 12 shower heads?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a fucking deep cut right there, man. A fucking Hulk Hogan shower that fucking has like 12 shower heads. But dude, one of my favorite Hulk Hogan moments from Hogan Knows Best. This wasn't even Hogan Knows Best. This was Brooke Knows Best.
Yeah, she does.
When they were like cruising on the boat, but like Linda had a restraining order against Hogan, so he couldn't go to the house. So they pull into the bay. This is terrible. It's so terrible. They pull into the bay by the house, but they can't get within like 100 feet or whatever. And all of the dogs are standing on the shore, and they could see that Hogan is like, and then he's just like, "Those are my dogs, brother." And he's like, he's crying because he can't pet it. Which, I mean, as an animal, like a pet lover, like I understand, but it's just like, it was so poorly
It's just
acted.
anything that Hulk Hogan does immediately turns into a comedy.
There is a TikTok, and I think I've sent it to you. It's the most random TikTok ever. It's Hogan, Rob Van Dam, Katie Forbes, and Bam Margera. And it's like Hogan is advertising his Real American beer. Yeah. And he's like, I wish Bam Margera was here, but Bam don't drink no more. And then Bam like walks over and he's like, get a sniff of that beer, brother. And then he like smells it and he's like, oh, you know, and then Van Dam starts flexing and Hogan goes, I'm gonna hide behind the muscle. And then Van Dam grabs him and gives him a stunner and he goes, oh, stun me, brother. It's just the way that he says, stun me, brother. It's so fun. I think I've talked about it on here before, but it's so. Have you seen, there's been a meme going around lately where people are photoshopping, it's like in detail photoshops, and they're putting Hogan in movies.
Yeah, I seen one where he was like Batista's character from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Drax.
Yeah, that popped me, dude.
I saw one today that it said, we're the Soggy Bottom Brothers, and it was from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and all three of them were Hogan.
Terry Bollea, man.
Oh, Terry Bollea. I love Terry, man. I love him. Yeah, Bam Margera. Oh, stud me, brother. But yeah, that who was over here the other day? I think my friend was over, and like I have a stack of DVDs on my floor, and she just looks at it And then she looks up at me and she goes, why do you have the entire series of Hogan Knows Best on DVD? And I said,
why not?
I said, that's a crazy question, because the real question is, why don't you?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, this is my same friend. Okay. I think I've told this story on the podcast. She's seen Hulk Hogan.
So she says.
No, no, because I believe this.
Yeah, dude, I hope and pray it's some trucker that cosplayed as Terry Bolega and he's just walking into a pilot's. Like, I know where this story's going, and I just want you to know I hope that it's that. Like, I hope some truck driver carnied her so bad that it's just funny now.
It was the pilot that's down the road from where Signal 10 runs their shows, and she was there because it's the only place to get Cinnabon, which I'm going to bring it back to that place in a minute. And she like, he was in there because he was touring, doing promotion for his Real American Beer. And he was in the Midwest around that time. So that's why I believe that it was her. But she was holding Cinnabon and she was just like, what is my life? So then, funny story, when we did the street fair show in West Terre Haute, Logan Myers pulls up and he's like, yeah, brother, sorry I was a little late. He goes, I had to stop at that pilot and get Cinnabon. And I go, funny story about that pilot, Logan. And he goes, no way. Like in that Logan Myers, just dismissive. No way.
You're lucky Logan didn't see him there. Logan would have shot on him.
I would have shot on him. Oh my God. I just remembered it's Terry Tuesday today and I haven't posted a picture.
It is Terry Tuesday. You stole my picture, by the way, of him talking to Stone Cold. I'm not hurt about it, but a little bit of credit would have been nice.
Oh, that one's good. Terry, hang on. I'm tweeting it right now. Terry Tuesday. Here's the good thing. If you miss a Terry Tuesday, you can just do a Funk It Friday.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
But yeah, so Dalton, we have actually, believe it or not, we have got a topic that I want to talk about here, and I think that you're really going to enjoy it. But before we get into it, let's hear a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling. We all love live entertainment, right? We all love live wrestling, right? Well, what if I told you that there is a place that combines the entertainment and the wrestling live that we all love? Look no further than Elite Pro Wrestling. Whether it's in person in Odin, Indiana, or Washington, Indiana, or if you check them out on YouTube, Elite Pro Wrestling guarantees a quality show that allows them to live up to the name Elite. If you're feeling generous, go ahead and check them out on Patreon as well. If you back them, you're going to get early access to all of their shows before they hit YouTube. Again, check out EliteProfessionalWrestling.com. This episode is brought to you by Venom Energy. Hey, we've all been there, and there's nothing wrong with admitting to it. Well, what I mean is that we've all hit that midday slump, and we all need a little push to get us through the rest of the day. Well, what better option to give you a pick-me-up than one of the wonderful flavors of Venom Energy? Venom is what gets MadBash through those long show days, and we know that it can do the same for you. I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit for you, too. Yeah, come to our merch table when you see us at a show, and with the purchase of a MadBash Wrestling sticker or magnet, you get a Venom Energy drink on us. While supplies last, of course, so you better act quick. We'd like to thank Venom again for sponsoring this episode. Please consume responsibly. Not recommended for children under 18, pregnant or nursing women, or people sensitive to caffeine. So Dalton Davis, recently, old Uncle Alan, AJ Styles.
Oh, Al, yeah.
He was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it was pretty solid. Now, here's the thing about Chris Van Vliet, right? I don't actually listen to his podcast. I digest more of his clips.
Yep.
Like his YouTube shorts or his TikToks.
Yeah.
So AJ was talking about good old TNA. And I know that you love some TNA.
Do be loving me some TNA.
So the question was posed to AJ Styles, who I just got a text from
Oliver Kane.
From Oliver Kane.
Yeah.
Did you get the same one? Let me guess what it said.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
It's an Instagram reel, and he put a caption with it. I haven't seen the reel yet.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, because we're a little bit busy recording a podcast. God damn it, Oliver. So, no, a question was proposed to AJ. I'm trying to gather myself here because, God damn it, that was so funny. A question was proposed to AJ. Who is the Mount Rushmore of TNA wrestlers? And this isn't going to be the whole top, because we're essentially just going to start talking about TNA. That's pretty much where we're going right now.
All right.
We're just going to start talking about TNA because I've been in a big TNA mood since that interview. There's just different topics that I want to talk about with it. But I think we start with that, brother. Like,
are we talking about
in general? In general.
So it doesn't just have to be TNA OGs.
Whoever you feel performed great in TNA that solidified what they are. Like,
okay. All right. So I think first and foremost, and I might get a lot of heat for saying this, but I do not care. I feel like you can't have a Mount Rushmore of TNA and not put Jeff Jarrett on there.
He's not on mine, but I agree.
I would put Jeff Jarrett. I would put, obviously, AJ Styles. I would put Abyss. And Mount Rushmore is what?
4.
So, yeah, I'm at 3. And the last one. Let's see. This is a big thing.
It's a tough one.
It's only because I love TNA so much. You know what I mean? Like if you would have said TNA OGs, then I would have already I'd have been through this.
Like but people who were not later signer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you not put Peak Angle on there? How do you not put Sting on there? How do you not,
Honestly, I think the Stinger will be my last one.
He's got to be, man. His run in TNA was so good.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, how do you not put? Like, I had to put. Like, you can't even speak TNA without bringing up AJ Styles. Obviously,
he's on mine for sure. I think, but by default, any TNA Mount Rushmore has AJ on it. It has to.
Yeah, in a weird way, like I feel like AJ Styles in TNA was I feel like he was the character of The Rock, but the work ethic of Steve.
Oh.
Like, I feel like he was their guy, rather it was heel or face, right? Because and that's the way The Rock is. Whether he's heel or face, he's the guy. The Rock. But then you get in there and he just didn't have a bad match. You put him against anybody and he made it work. Like the fact that still to this day you talk about TNA and you're like, what's one of the greatest matches? You have to bring up the triple threat with Joe and Chris.
The Unbreakable three-way, man. Unbreakable three-way, always.
And then he went on to do and that's no discredit to anybody else in TNA, but
no,
AJ achieved so much in TNA. Like you have to put him on there.
Yeah. Mine, I feel like, so for those of you keeping track, Dalton Davis's is AJ, Jeff Jarrett, Sting, and who was the fourth one? Abyss. Okay. Brother, that's a good one. For me, AJ by default.
Yep.
You got to put AJ on there. So my hot take one, because your hot take was Jeff Jarrett, even though I feel that it really shouldn't be a hot take. I'm gonna save my hot take for last because it's gonna be one that I feel like I'm gonna need to explain. AJ, I'm putting Peak Angle on there. You got to put Kurt on there.
Yep.
Now, damn it, because I already know who my fourth is gonna be. So now I'm only left with one. This is hard. I'm the one that proposed the fucking question, and I'm having a hard time with it. Abyss, man. Okay, so AJ's covering the X division. Angle's covering like that main event era. I'm going with Abyss. I have to.
You have to, dude.
You have to. I think by default, you only get to choose two people for a TNA Mount Rushmore, and it's AJ and Abyss.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're also doing a disservice by not putting Joe on there. But I mean, there's just so many other ones.
Yeah, but then but that's the thing though. Like that's what made TNA so good. Like, yeah, like we're not discussing Joe, but Joe should be in discussion. You know what I mean? Hot take. I think fucking PD Williams should be in discussion for this. You know what I mean? Like he was a solid
Eric Young,
EY, and I ain't talking no Dillinger. I think Eric Young, especially like no matter like rather he was doing like the serious gimmick, and then he kind of went and did like the R-Truth comedy like era.
Don't fire Eric.
Yeah, and then dude, I've even talked to you about this. One of my favorite things ever that I still remember this day of TNA is when Eric Young found the heavyweight title in a trash can and then started walking around telling everybody he was TNA heavyweight champion.
And he was locking up with people.
Yeah, that was amazing.
So good. Okay, so AJ, Abyss, Kurt, and this one's my hot take, but I know he wasn't there for very long, but you got to look at the time that he was there and what he was doing. I'm going with Christian Cage. Brother.
I don't hate it. And I understand.
During that early Impact on Spike era, come on.
I mean, that's fair. It's not as much of a hot take as what I thought.
I think that's pretty hot.
I mean,
spicy.
I think the only reason it's labeled hot is because I feel like Christian's always going to be labeled a WWE guy.
Well, in my defense too, he also wasn't there very long.
Yeah,
like 4
that's
years,
also
I think.
fair.
Like
that's
4
also
years.
Fair.
He was
now. Let me spin back on you with this. Mount Rushmore TNA tag team.
How are we with people that are in multiple teams? Can they appear twice?
Yeah.
Okay. Not that I'm going to do it, but okay. I think I've already fucking got it, I'm pretty sure. Motor City Machine Guns.
Yep.
Team 3D.
Okay.
America's Most Wanted.
Okay.
And Team Pac-Man. No, I'm joking on that one. Honestly, I'm going back to the, like, I kind of want to throw a random one in there, like the Disciples of the New Church or something like that, or Triple X or something. I'm gonna go with Triple X. X. And that one,
remind me Triple X again.
That's kind of cheating because it's 3 people. It was Daniels, Loki, and Elix Skipper.
All right. I mean, the group's fine. So here's mine, hot take. I think first and foremost, you have to put Fortune. any way you want to slice it or dice it, rather like whatever team you got out of Fortune was goated.
That's fair.
Didn't matter. My favorite in specific was when Daniels and Styles were tagging.
Yeah, that wasn't technically Fortune though, was it?
Yeah, I mean it was few and far between when they did do it, but they were under Fortune.
Well, see, because they had a good tag run in like 08, I think it was. It was like 07, 08, maybe. It was even earlier than that, because I think it was before the Christians Coalition, but I digress.
So I'm gonna go Fortune. I'm gonna go Motor City Machine Gun.
Have to. They're the ones that always got to be included.
Oh, 100%. See, I asked you this, and this is stumping me. Beer Money.
But they're in Fortune, though.
All right, so I'll take Beer Money out. And then, okay. Aces and eights, but in specifically when Ken Anderson and Devon were tagging.
Can't see it right now, but I'm doing the Ken Anderson head scratch.
Yeah.
Whenever Tito Ortiz debuted.
And the last one, this is going to be a little bit of a hot take, but I don't care. Inc. Incorporated.
Inc. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? I'm okay with that. They were goated.
That's what I'm saying.
They were goated.
Tattoo under my skin. That's it. Lives rent free in my head.
How did we not say, okay, I'm taking out Triple X and I'm putting in LAX.
Yeah, that's valid.
Fuck, how did we forget about Homicide and Hernandez?
Especially Homicide when he was in his Super Mex era. When the motherfucker would come down barreling down the ramp and then just take everybody.
You said the wrong one. That was Hernandez.
Oh, well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Super
whatever.
Mex.
Yeah, misspoke. Yeah, Super Mex. And he would pose when he
forearms.
Yeah, the forearms.
Yeah, the shorts always went hard.
Ah, man. Homicide and Hernandez. Man, how could we forget about them? Man. Yeah, TNA is one of those things, and you and I always get into it a little bit because we're two different eras of TNA, but you respect. You know what? I'm going to kind of go back on the tag team thing here a little bit because we have not really been acknowledging like TNA from the last like 5-6 years. Yeah. I feel like the North needs to be in conversation for the Mount Rushmore of TNA tag teams.
I'm not hating on the North. That was a little bit before I got like invested into TNA.
Well, no, they came after because they're like late TNA. They're Impact Wrestling.
Oh, the North. Oh, I don't know why.
The North.
You were talking about
Team Canada.
Yeah, that was EY and Rude, right?
What? Team Canada?
Yeah, wasn't they like a Team Canada or something?
Team Canada was Eric Young, Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on who Team Canada was? Scott D'Amore, Petey Williams. Who was the other one? There was a big heater, and I can't remember who it was. I don't remember who it was, but yeah.
Complete side note.
Yes.
Every time we talk about Petey Williams, I just can't like not see him as mini Scott Steiner.
Little Petey Pump.
Yeah, little Petey Pump.
But no, the North was in Impact Wrestling. And they were like they were there when I stopped watching Impact, but it was Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. So
I remember that now.
Yeah, it's not my era of TNA, but like they were solid though. They were solid as a team. I'm not putting them on my Mount Rushmore, but I just want to acknowledge that we're not just completely talking about like, but I mean, come on. I mean, like it's our era of TNA, which then wraps it up into what I'm talking about here of where I am a hardcore hardcore 04 to 09 guy. Like that is peak TNA. But with you, you're more of like the Aces and Eights era of Impact Wrestling. When it was still TNA at the time. But
well, I think around the time that like I first started, like they still had the 6-sided ring, and then like my memory of that, like that era, like I still watched it, but it's not as good as my memory for the later years, just because during that period of my time, that was like I was still a WWE guy, so like TNA like wasn't like my priority, I guess, per se. But like I remember one of the first storylines that I really got invested in was when Fortune was beefing with Immortal, and then Fortune ended up doing the swerve and joining Immortal.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was around the time that I was like, oh, they're cooking here.
That was late 2010, yeah.
And like you said, like the whole Aces and Eights thing,
Or
dude.
maybe
like
2011, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, go
dude,
on, sorry.
I'll never forget when AJ Styles won the title and then drove off in the Camaro. That shit was so gangster. Everybody, they had people pulling up to a hotel accusing AJ of cheating on his wife type shit.
Claire Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the dark times, brother. Claire Lynch.
Love that.
But yeah, so we've even shown you like Asylum era stuff that you've never seen before. Like the Asylum was goated, dude. Like there was, Raven versus Jeff Jarrett, the X division was popping off in that time period. I'm gonna need help on this one. Reb will probably help me because he always helps me with when I fuck up on this stuff. But I want to say it was the second TNA show. It was AJ, Loki, and Jerry Lynn in a ladder match for the X division title. My God, dude, so good.
Dude,
so
I don't think I've ever seen that match, but I know all three. And yeah, I'm going to have to peep that. Dude, Low-Key is so underrated. In my opinion, Low-Key was one of the most underrated like workers of all. And then like seeing him go into WWE and they do like the shitty NXT game host shit and turn him into Caval, and they got him doing high knees through tractor tires. That was stupid.
Well, he left for a bit, and then he came back as Sinshi in TNA. I didn't like that, but I like him as Loki.
Dude, when he started wearing the suit and looked like Hitman, bro.
What was it? Didn't him and Janela have beef, and then Loki like knocked him out in a fucking match or something? Like immediately started the match and just ran over and fucking rolling kicked him right in the dome.
I don't know if that was against Janela, but yeah, I do know that opening of that match. It's one of my favorite low-key clips because it looks like he's about to just take a foot bump and he just like roundhouses the dude.
Boom! It just knocks a motherfucker out. Yeah. Some of the best stuff that TNA ever did was whenever Kevin Nash was with the X division. You've seen this stuff, right? When they were doing, that shit was so funny, man. That shit was so goddamn funny. There's an entire video compilation of it on YouTube that people really need to check out.
I loved when they had Samoa Joe being in the X division. That shit was gangster too.
Yeah, well, that goes into the Unbreakable 3-Way era because like Joe came in and they immediately put him in the X division, and he was coming off of that incredible Ring of Honor run. So they put him in the X division and he won the title. And dude, he put on some fucking bangers when he was in the X division.
Dude. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, him and Liger is really good from Bound for Glory. I believe it's 7 maybe. No, I did not mean 07, 05. I think it's 05.
I'm terrible with year dates, but that sounds about right.
Yes, I think it was. It was like 05 or 06. I don't really remember. Might have been 06. It's not important. But yeah, man, that's what like I want to go back to it because like this is why I like, Christian, his run in TNA was like so good. And like that was around the time that I really hot and heavy got into TNA. Whenever Christian was, doing the Christian Coalition and he was, it was him, AJ, Tomko. It was so good. And then because this is back, like Christian was a mainstay in the 1 hour Impact era, where Impact was only an hour. It was pre-taped and it was only an hour. And they were doing a thing one month where every week they were going to have a title match because it was like a promotional thing they were doing. So one week it was the TNA, or it was still the NWA title at the time. It was Christian, Abyss, and I want to say, I don't remember who the third one was, but the match went the entire show.
No,
because it was an hour-long show, and they started the show and they went the entire show, and it was really good from what I remember. It was really good. But Christian had a really good street fight with Rhino at a Bound for Glory. I don't remember which Bound for Glory it was, but like, dude, I was getting TNA pay-per-views, man. Like I was more into TNA at the time than I was the E, because like, and this is where you're gonna go off, fuck you, because this was and I'm not disparaging this time period at all, because it's goated. We've talked about it so much, but like that was around the time that we were getting like Orton and Triple H, which we've established that's what got you really into wrestling was that feud. So I really wasn't seeing that. Like I was still watching it, but I mean, like, I wasn't watching Raw live on Mondays, but every Thursday, you bet your ass, I was turning on Spike TV and I was watching TNA. I was such a TNA fan, dude. Such a TNA fan.
Dude, yeah, TNA. I mean, yeah, I was kind of the same way. Like, I remember, like, when I first started, like, wanting to watch TNA weekly, I think it was around the time that they were doing SmackDown on Thursdays, too, on, like, Sci-Fi, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And so, like, I would have to, like, flip back and forth between Spike and Sci-Fi. And I even remember I kept on losing my remote, so JD got tired of buying them. So I was sitting there, like, at the DVR, because we had Dish Network, like, surfing through channels. But I mean, that stuff was good. And I think, I don't know, I will argue with the Triple H Randy Orton thing, man.
No, I'm not disparaging it. I'm just saying I wasn't seeing it play out, because I wasn't.
That's fair.
I was still watching, but I wasn't watching Raw live. Like, I remember whenever they tried to go head, and this was when the downward spiral of TNA really started, was when they decided to go on Mondays and go head to head against Raw.
Yeah.
That was the January 4th. And that also around the same time was whenever WWE went HD for the first time. Was that same Monday.
I remember roughly the time period.
Yeah. And I remember I had one of them on in the living room and then the other one on in my bedroom. And I was literally just going back and forth, like just going back and forth. And I don't know why this is in my head, but it was Randy Orton opened that episode of Raw. And why I remember that, why I remember Randy Orton so vividly walking out on that HD stage, I couldn't tell you, but I don't even remember what opened that episode of Impact, because they brought Hogan out later. Because one of them, did TNA go 3 hours on that one? And Raw, one of them, but it lined up where, if I remember this correctly, it was Bret Hart coming back to the WWE. So they lined up, Hogan debuted on TNA right when Bret Hart was coming out on WWE. So they fucking knew what they were doing. And I would love to see the numbers on that. I'm sure that if I Googled it, I could find them. But
yeah, that would,
because that was a big one, Bret Hart coming back.
Yeah, because wasn't that the one he did the promo with Shawn?
Yeah, first he called out Shawn and then he called out Vince.
Yeah. Yeah,
because that was the build up to Shawn's retirement match with Taker.
It was. Sure. Yeah, that was after he super kicked the girl with the croutons.
Yeah, and then he super kicked fucking who was it that was Stan? I think it was LA Knight.
No, Stan was the Perfect 10 dude.
Yeah.
Ty Dillinger.
Well, he's not Ty Dillinger anymore. He's Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears. Yeah. That's who it was. But man, Dalton, I got to tell you, this was a really fun conversation. I could talk TNA with you for hours, and I tried to get up and adjust myself in my chair, and now my chair's fucking stuck on something. And I'm sure that some TNA discussion will definitely continue as we go into Paid Show, because you are going to stick around for Paid Ski as well.
Yes.
But I had an idea for Paid Show that I wanted to do, and I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to save it, but we're going to do it at some point. We're just not going to do it tonight, but yeah, man, we're going to be hopping off here before too long. Dalton, go ahead and give some plugs. Where can people find you and all that?
Any MadBash date, I'm usually there. Be on the lookout for Signal 10. I will be coming back there here soon. Also, you can beat me at Hybrid Championship Wrestling. You know, I am their Midwest heavyweight champion. So yeah, and then, you know, the same old on social medias, Davis _8293 on Instagram, and Dalton Davis on Facebook, and then Dalton Davis Wrestling on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
And BLB _Dalton Davis on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling that.
When's the last time you tweeted?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't follow me on there, but it is an account that I do have.
Trying to get some analytics, some traffic moving.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
Dude, I can't tell you the last time I was on Twitter. I mean, it's just not a fun platform. I mean, it's just like not many people use it much anymore, and I'm just like, oh, you know, I don't really care. But yeah, you can, of course, find me. I am using Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at DWobs Card Shop, Wobs with a Z, of course. MadBashStudios.com, Patreon.com/MadBash Studios. For those of you on the Patreon, we're going to roll into Paid Ski. This is going to be a fun conversation with Dalton Davis. We're going to give you a little preview of what Dalton Davis and I got cooking, and it is definitely something that you're going to want to hear about. So, for those of you on the Patreon, we will see you on Paid Show. And for the rest of you, we will see you down the road on some form of content.